If Lok Sabha elections were held today, who would be ahead? Would the picture be very different from the Lok Sabha elections of 2024? Well, in a moment from now, we'll be talking to Yashwant Deshmukh to talk about the See Voter Mood of the Nation survey, one that he does with India Today every year. A question that has become particularly pertinent given that we are entering election season again. And in maybe a month from now, we'll be officially looking at poll season in, among other places, Bengal, Assam, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and of course also Puducherry. We'll be reading the political tea leaves and asking that tantalizing question. If general elections were held today, who would win, who would lose, and by how much? I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo story. After the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, it was widely suggested that the BJP would slip below the majority mark, was on the back foot, and the opposition was on the ascent. But several assembly elections and several months later, what is the situation in 2026 as we officially enter another round of state elections? If general elections were held today, has the Congress led by Rahul Gandhi gained ground after the 99 seats of June 2024? Have other regional parties like Mamata Banerjee become the more compelling forces? Does brand Modi remain central to the BJP's winning strategy? The BJP has done extremely well in a series of state assembly elections since the Lok Sabha elections. And as the BJP enters another round of election season, of election campaigns, does the Modi factor still prevail as strongly? Has regional politics altered and presented itself as the main challenge to the BJP? And in the race for Prime Minister, where do the numbers stack up between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi? A lot to talk about as we look at everything from the south to the east, from Shashi Tharoor to Himanta Biswa Sarma and more. Let me introduce our newsmaker on the program today. Yashwant Deshmukh is with us. And as we said, we're here to discuss the findings of the annual See Voter MOTN survey. Yashwant, thank you. And let's get straight to it. Let's get actually to the one election that is going to be, some might say, the mother of all battles because of how much energy the BJP puts in it. Of course, the BJP puts a lot of itself in every election, but Bengal has been really, really important to its plans. And so far in the elections that we've seen, whether Assembly or Lok Sabha, Mamata Banerjee has prevailed despite that. So I want to start actually with Mamata Banerjee. We saw her recently appear herself as a sitting chief minister in the Supreme Court. You can see the images there. And whatever you may criticize her for otherwise, I think even her adversaries acknowledge that she puts everything of herself into the fight. So if we can come out of these pictures now and straight to Yashwant. Yashwant, your numbers suggest that if Lok Sabha elections were held today, the Trinamool Congress would pretty much maintain status quo. You project only a drop of one seat compared to the last Lok Sabha elections. What does this tell us about Mamata Banerjee? And again, Bengal is a state where the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly elections have often or always followed a similar pattern. So how do you read and understand these numbers?
First of all, Bakha, that, in every 6 months that we do the MOTN, but in between we always continue with our tracker. So because we'll be focusing on the assembly-bound, election-bound states as well, the MOTN focuses on the Lok Sabha and the national numbers. But I would also share with you our tracker numbers so that we are clear that, what if the trends are holding on the assembly ground. Yes, you are correct that Bengal is one of those states where basically the assembly and the Lok Sabha trends are pretty much in a similar line. There is no as such Modi dividend or Modi loss. This either ways, whichever, like when we discuss in Tamil Nadu, you will realize that Tamil Nadu happens to be one state where in assembly election, it's a different case in that way because it happens to be more anti-Modi in some way than the other. But in Bengal, Mamata Banerjee is holding very tight. Yes, in the vote share, it is getting down to much and much bipolar. And that probably has a lot to do with the fact
look at the vote The BJP does quite well in vote share in Bengal in
Exactly.
projections, but not as much in conversion to seats.
Exactly. And the reason why the conversion to seat might be a problem at this point of time is because of the demography of the Bengal. It is one of those states where Muslim population is almost like 30% kind of touching in that way. And there are almost 90 seats, Barkha, in assembly elections in Bengal, where they form the majority, 30% plus majority in that way. So it's a kind of race. It's a kind of 100-meter dash where Mamata Banerjee starts at 50 meters in more ways than one. So that's the demographic dividend that she gets. And unlike many other states where, like for example, the Congress, when we'll discuss Assam, we'll realize this one. Why Mamata Banerjee doesn't have the handicap, what the Congress is facing in Assam is that apart from the Muslim vote, she also has a very significant urban support base, very significant female support base. So it's a Muslim plus, it's not a Muslim only vote. That's a huge difference, which BJP is finding really tough to crack. Yes, it is a fact that BJP has captured one poll, that is the anti-Mamata poll. And the very fact that Congress and Left Front have decided they will part ways and they are going to contest alone. So the bipolarization of the Bengal politics in this coming election will be complete. At least the data shows
Can I ask you a question? What would happen hypothetically if Congress and left also joined Mamata? We spoke earlier in a different context that Rahul Gandhi's sort of obsession on issues inside Parliament actually took away the headlines from Mamata's appearance in Supreme Court. Now, wherever you stand on the SIR, and we'll get to that later, and the electoral process, the fact is that Mamata Banerjee, as a sitting chief minister, appeared in the Supreme Court, and it was a dramatic moment. But those headlines got dwarfed by the shenanigans that were taking place in Parliament, and Rahul Gandhi calling Ravneet Bittu a traitor, and then those became the headlines, etc., etc. What would happen if the Congress and the left and Mamata were to fight together, or does Mamata simply not need them?
Mamata Banerjee will not agree to that. I tell you what's the reason. The reason is she knows very well that whatever the small number of the votes the left and the Congress are getting are basically now concentrated anti-Mamata. And she fears that the moment that she will collaborate Congress on the left into the alliance, those 7, 8, 9% has a larger side to go to the BJP rather than coming to the alliance with Mamata. And that's a real danger out there. So this is why she is okay with the Congress and left to continue on then with their residual votes and continue poll. She would very much like to increase the vote share to 50%. Rather than getting struck at 45, she will try that the higher turnout of the females. She has doubled down on the female centric scheme, by the way. She has just announced that she is going to put more money on the females, and that's something which has worked in almost all the states we have seen post Madhya Pradesh. So that scheme has worked. So all in all, I think Mamata Banerjee is sitting pretty. Yes, the gap looks narrower at this point of time, but please keep in mind that she is like sitting pretty on 80 to 90 seats where she has a demographic advantage on her side. Also, one very important thing, Barkha, which probably is not being discussed a lot, is the line of succession. What is next? And this is where I have started tracking the next in line leadership as well across India to understand how smooth or bumpy the ride is. I think West Bengal happens to be one of those few states where Abhishek Banerjee's numbers are matching in post-Mamata scenario for TMC.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So there is like, when you ask, suppose Mamata Didi is not there, who among the TMC people?
But you know why that's a very interesting scenario? Because in the aftermath of the RG Kaur rape, they were actually for a brief moment two camps within the Trinamool Congress, Abhishek Banerjee and Mamata Banerjee's. And, it was widely known that they differed on how to handle the RG Kaur crisis, right? So if you're saying today that Abhishek Banerjee is polling pretty decent numbers on his own as a political brand, that can create some very interesting possibilities down the line.
Absolutely. And you remember when we were discussing Arjikar incident at that point of time, Abhishek Banerjee actually took a line which was against his party. He was pretty aggressive on the issue of female security, and something tells me this could be a well thought of strategy as well, where Mamata Banerjee looks into the old file, old rank and everything, and Abhishek Banerjee takes care of something which was going angry against the government, and found a way that, okay, no, it's not that entire TMC is like that. Abhishek is talking some sense in that, so it could be also a thought of strategy. But yes, the line of succession is clear. So what I'm simply trying to say, when we are discussing the regional parties, we need to be very, very clear what is coming next. Because otherwise, in many states, we have seen the pie polarization, even though Congress is in really bad situation right now, but still, when the main regional parties collapse, the numbers of those votes, the number of votes actually get diversified or bifurcated, I would say, between the two major national parties. We have seen that in Haryana. When the INLD collapses, it was bipolar between the Congress and the BJP. When Uttarakhand Kranti Dal collapsed, it became the bipolar between the Congress and the BJP. So, I mean, unless, like in Jharkhand, where Hemant Soren brings up the third one and an important one, so line of succession and a better legacy management, and that is where he doesn't allow the Congress to properly hold foot. So Mamata Banerjee, Abhishek Banerjee, that line is clear. I think they are in for a long day over there. So that's holding.
So I have one last question on Bengal when it comes to the BJP campaign, where you said it's neither a plus or a negative for the Prime Minister. He's not a factor by itself. The BJP has struggled to build a local face for itself in Bengal. In the middle, there were rumors that the BJP was trying to court a Saurav Ganguly. They have been looking and looking for a face, somebody who will be a sort of magnet for voters across, little categories of support. Do you believe that the BJP weakness, because again, in vote share, the BJP doesn't do badly, but in converting this, the BJP is not able to take on the might of Mamata. Do you believe that the BJP weakness in Bengal is the absence of a credible face at the state level?
I think it's not that case, Barkha, because yes, you are right. When you have a big shot leader, you have to somebody like bigger strength with Suvendu Adhikari to the power of 3 in that way, and that's where the friction comes in. But look what happened in, say, for example, in Odisha. BJP managed to win Odisha even after not having any face whatsoever. What I feel that they waited patiently for 15 years in Odisha. 15 long years, and they did not go beyond the point in hurting Naveen Babu and saying that, okay, this is it. We respect for what he is, but we are not allowing Congress to come in. And slow and steady, at some point of time, the anti-incumbency at the bottom, that is against the sitting MLAs and MPs, became so much that even though Naveen Babu polled more votes than the BJP in the first past the post system, critically BJP managed to win bigger number of seats. I believe that BJP is patiently waiting and waiting in that way, that at some point of time, this Bhadralok, the urban middle class of West Bengal, will kind of, switch. The new generation will come in, who will not be really identifying themselves with too much of that old warrior Mamata. They might align with Abhishek more, but that would be a transition where they would like to say enough is enough. You must flip the government and give somebody else a good chance. So I think they are waiting, and they have the organizational strength and the bench to wait. This is what I feel.
So in short, Mamata Banerjee continues to have a tight hold over West Bengal. She continues to not take the fight for granted. One must grant her that she's perennially in fight mode.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. I can't tell you who told me because I have to protect their confidence. But the story goes that a very senior leader in the BJP was once asked, who in the opposition do you consider an adversary you respect and feel very competitive when you take them on. And this leader said Mamta Banerjee, that the BJP said she's a worthy adversary.
Absolutely. And that makes sense. That makes sense because all said and done, she has been there. You see, not forgetting the fact that she was an NDA ally under Vajpayee, but the fact is, for 30 ruthless years of the left domination in Bengal, she was the fighter. She came from that backdrop. Whatever her, you may agree with her, disagree with her, like her, dislike her, that's another thing. But you have to give it a fact that she came up fighting all the way, and she will go down fighting all the way. One thing you can be sure about, Mamta Banerjee is not going to leave fighting. She is a street warrior, street fighter. That's what her USP is, and that's going to remain there. As long as she is there, I believe her people may pull her down. Mamta Banerjee is not going to go down. It's a very critical distinction. Her MLAs, MPs, party workers, other thing, that entire paraphernalia might pull her down, but on her own, she is not going to go out. That is not going to happen very soon.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to the other state in the east, and that is the state of Assam. Now, when we look at Assam and we look at Himanta Biswa, we are simultaneously looking, Yashwant, at one of the BJP's most successful, but also one of the BJP's most controversial chief ministers. He was a former congressman. The story now is very well told, including in Ghulam Nabi Azad's book, about how Mr. Azad, has written that Himanta could have been kept within the Congress, but Rahul Gandhi let that opportunity go. That's the short version of the story. But just in the last 24 hours, the BJP Assam unit has had to take down a video where, it's called a point blank video where Himanta Biswa is shown holding a gun and seemingly taking aim at infiltrators. That's what the BJP would argue. The opposition says it's an anti-Muslim video. As I said, a hugely successful chief minister, also often quoting controversy. Now look at what your survey, the C Voter MOTN survey says. In terms of vote share, the India bloc is projected to come down significantly from 39% to 33%, and the NDA is projected to go up from 47% to 54%. If I can just look at the seats that this translates into for a moment, the difference is even more dramatic. For the NDA, it's not such a dramatic increase in seats. It's projected to increase 1 seat if elections were held today. But for the India bloc, there's no gain at all, notwithstanding the fact that Gaurav Gogoi every day, takes on Himanta Biswa. They are at loggerheads with each other all the time. His father, Tarun Gogoi, and Himanta Biswa were, adversaries within the Congress when they were on the same side. Notwithstanding the fact that Gaurav Gogoi is not without energy, the Congress is not able to, going by your numbers, make any gains, and Himanta Biswa is sitting pretty comfortable and in command. Talk about Assam.
Assam has altogether become a basket case in India, and that's very different. Please.
In what way?
Explain that, because people, there is a madness the way Himanta Biswa Sarma is operating. Okay, people see it's a madness, but there is a method to that madness, and the method to the madness, Barkha, is because of the different way Assam's demography is working. Assam's Muslim population percentage is almost at par with what we have seen in West Bengal. But in West Bengal, the Muslim population is kind of spread across almost like 90 odd seats. What is happening in Assam is that after the I don't really want to use the word gerrymandering because it has played out that way. The southern Assam and the block of the Barak Valley in that area, the new delimitation happened in Jammu and Kashmir and Assam only just 2 years back, right before the Lok Sabha election. And if you remember that Dhubri Lok Sabha, the Congress won by more than 1 million votes, the highest ever margin recorded in the last 70-80 years of electoral democracy in India. That is largely because it has almost become 100% Muslim Lok Sabha area. In Dhubri, the second place went to AIUDF. So BJP or the AGP which was contesting was not even in the contest. What has happened that in the new delimitation, this entire Muslim Assam has been concentrated into two Lok Sabha areas largely, and 12 have become Hindu majority areas. So, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever line of ideology one may be arguing from, this has become a stark reality that Dhubri has become a Srinagar or Baramulla or, for that matter, Lakshadweep for the BJP, where BJP can never win largely now. It is really next to impossible. But by doing that kind of gerrymandering, what they have ensured that rest of the Assam has become a proper Hindu majority area where a counter polarization, ensuring that the overwhelming majority of that side of Assam is voting for the BJP and its allies. So whatever Hemanta Biswa Sarma is doing, I mean, honestly speaking, it goes beyond any civil way of describing it, honestly speaking.
But why would he need to do it? The curious thing is not that it's okay to cross the line if you're not doing well, but when you're doing this well, why would you need an inflammatory campaign?
I think it's the problem with this kind of campaign is like what we say in Hindi, ye sher ki sawari hoti hai. You just cannot come down from that. You have to maintain, and it's a race to the bottom when this kind of campaign is concerned. I mean, we have seen it everywhere. I just hope that this method, there is a method to his madness, and this method stops after winning the election. I just hope that this is seen as only a tool to do something and not beyond that. Because honestly speaking, that kind of campaign, I mean, anybody from any parameter can be said to be justified. But the demographic change in Assam and Northeast, it also tells us a bigger side of the story, that it is a genuinely strong enough issue for people to react. The problem, or let me say it this way, the issue is not Hemanta Biswa Sarma doing that kind of campaign. The bigger issue is people buying that campaign. So that means there is something which is troubling the people. That is why they are buying that campaign, and something which probably the other secular parties on the other side are unable to figure out or understand. That you can be pro-Muslim and pro-Hindu or pro-secular all over again, as long as you are talking about the issue. There is a distinct conflict between Assamia-speaking Muslim and Bengali-speaking Muslim as well. So those kind of minor conflicts are there. So I think he is doing whatever he has to do in order to win the elections. But going beyond that bigotry and that kind of communal campaign, he also manages to get a very, very decent approval rating in terms of his government. He happens to be in the top 3 in the smaller states. I just looked into the number because I wanted to see where his ranking or number has gone down after this video came out. This morning, I just looked into all approval rating of all the chief ministers. And he manages to be in the number 1 in the smaller state, all the smaller states in India. So there is something which he knows he is kind of addressing, no matter how ugly it is looking, but he is addressing that. And I just hope that aggression and that kind of campaign goes down after the elections are over. Because
I mean, I'd be very interested in knowing the reaction to that video. That, by the way, either somebody in Hemanta's own team thought that video, which shows him holding a gun, and it's called a point blank video, and we can show you a still. The BJP has now deleted the video, but this is for anybody in our audience who's not familiar with this video. The BJP Assam unit posted this video, Yashwant, as you know, and that video was then taken down. So either somebody in the central BJP leadership believed that video had gone too far, or Hemanta Biswa himself felt that the video had gone too far. We'll never know. But the fact is, would you show us the still? The fact is that the BJP itself said that the video has, or someone in the BJP felt this is going too far.
Well, it has also to do with the way it was taken down. It has also to do with Prime Minister's visit to Malaysia right now.
That's
we have seen how other things have reacted on the diplomatic scale as and when the Islamophobic campaign from some of the sides of the BJPs have taken place. We have seen that in the past. So I think that has also to do with this thing, this kind of thing. It is deplorable. I mean, honestly speaking, I don't think that it was innocently done, that kisi ne kar diya. It was done with, there is no innocence in politics anywhere. It was done with a motive. I think उनका purpose solve हो गया, उन्होंने हटा दिया. It's one of those things probably, and that's how it is. But I also believe that with that kind of number, I don't really think he needs that kind of campaign. You know, I mean, sometimes it puzzles me. यार जब आराम से इलेक्शन तुम्हारा निकल रहा है तो गंदगी करने की जरूरत क्या है? Some things, you know. But then politicians are politicians. What to do about it? I mean, look at Bihar. What happened? I mean, we have seen Bihar campaign turn around purely on the female vote bank, right? We have seen that. And yes, in February first week's number, the Bihar chief minister happens to be in the top 5. His numbers have not gone down. He remains popular. So for me to see two major chief ministers of NDA clan, non-BJP chief minister, being right in the top is something which is very interesting, because they are not running a communal campaign. So much so that somebody like Chandrababu Naidu is almost like number 1 right now in the chief minister's campaign. He is at par actually with Yogi Adityanath.
But that means that drawing any generalizations on what makes a chief minister popular is very dangerous business. Because
exactly. There is no
generalization. Nitish on the one hand, Chandrababu on the other hand, Himanta on the other hand. You know,
exactly. There can be no generalization. But it also tells you that between Yogi and Hemanta, yes, they retain their edge. I understand that. But at the same time, there is always Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar, or for that matter, now the BJP name of Devendra Fadnavis is Maharashtra. That even with the governance name, you can earn the brownie points. You can manage. So you don't really have to have this kind of image and campaign if you are doing good in governance and run the thing and be good, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, and I take the point that, you know, nothing is innocent in politics, and in a way you may even be right that, you know, a video has been put in the public domain, and even if it's been deleted, whoever it was targeted at in terms of quoting voters, it may have served its purpose.
And Gaurav Gogoi numbers are so limited to the minority population. We did a tracker with the India Today northeastern side. I mean, basically the northeast editions of any, especially on Assam, and we realized that the gap between the numbers of Himanta and Gaurav Gogoi in that survey was not that big. It was only 3-4 points, largely in that way. But as if Gaurav Gogoi's almost entire universe was coming from Muslims, and as if Himanta Biswa Sarma's almost entire universe was coming from Hindus.
And again, I think you and I agree that the video is, you know, it's absolutely unseemly. But we have a comment from an audience member, Saurabh. The Congress is playing into BJP's politics of polarization by promising reservation of Muslims in Telangana. No surprise that the BJP will now use this for consolidation, rather counter consolidation, in West Bengal, Assam, and elsewhere. My point will still remain: Himanta Biswa doesn't need to do this to win Assam. He doesn't need to do this.
He probably doesn't need to. But the way the delimitation has happened now, that that issue is done and dusted, and probably he can just claim to be a good government, and in that way and proceed. But that's very interesting comment from your viewer, particularly checking about Telangana. Because Barkha, in this edition of MOTN, if you will ask me one state where I have seen the maximum change in that, in terms of vote and seats, is probably coming from Telangana. And Telangana is reacting in a different way. So BJP's upswing in Telangana is right now a remarkable thing to happen. It was long overdue since 1998 when they polled almost 30% within Telangana region. That's true, but they gave it away on a platter. Right now, it is in the resurgent mode because Congress is facing a huge anti-incumbency sentiment over there. So, yes, the Telangana effect is going to impact not just Telangana, but beyond Telangana. So, your audience is actually right that, yes, it is a two-way traffic. what BJP does in their Islamophobic campaign many a times
Yeah.
is debatable, no doubt. But Congress also is unable to figure out a crack to it that, okay, they do not need to be, more Catholic than the Pope in order to become a pro-Muslim party and antagonize the Hindu votes in so many areas, more than one.
Okay, let's turn our attention now from the east to the south, and I want to pick up Kerala. I had a chance to spend some time in Kerala about a week ago, and at that time, Shashi Tharoor and the Congress had not yet sort of had a tenuous patch up, which now seems to be the case when Ms. Tharoor met with Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge. That said, Kerala is a very interesting example, Yashwant, because it's the one state where the assembly and the Lok Sabha don't actually follow the
No.
same pattern, right? So you have
That's
a left government in power right now, and a certain degree of committed left voters continues to sort of be there in Kerala. But if you look at the projection, this is very interesting. Your projection says if Lok Sabha elections were held in Kerala today, the LDF could drop to 0. It didn't have much last time; it had 1. The BJP could go up from 1 to 2, and the UDF would pretty much maintain its hold. And Kerala is also Priyanka Gandhi's home state now, parliamentary state rather. How do you see Kerala?
Well, Kerala is one of those unique puzzles which BJP still needs to crack. I mean, having said that they have won the Thiruvananthapuram municipality, which is
The mayor for the BJP mayor in Trivandrum. Yes,
for the first time, which is no less than having a mayor in the BMC. Honestly speaking, it's actually a bigger news. Yeah, I mean, if you would ask me to compare that, look at the vote share, Barkha, and that's pretty damning because to see the BJP almost on the striking distance of the left in terms of vote share, that is something which is telling not just a long-term decline of
the BJP, you're projecting a 25% vote share in Kerala.
If the Lok Sabha elections are happening.
Yes. In Lok Sabha, yes.
I mean, this number probably won't hold for the assembly. I mean, we'll know.
Yes.
By the way, I mean, we are starting the trackers with Malayalam Manorama over there. So we'll be sharing those numbers probably within a week with you. Whatever we'll show over there, I will share with you. But yeah, I mean, these numbers are very striking. They are telling us a story which we have seen in West Bengal, where BJP literally ate up the entire left vote. Now, the 10 years of just to remind the audience, that 5 years back, they created history. The left created history by repeating the government, which is very unusual in Kerala. It is always a pendulum going from one side to the other side. But that had largely to do with the infighting of the Congress rather than a very, very clear-cut advantage to them. Now, with 10 years of incumbency, they are almost certain to be on their way. Not only from this parameter, including the fact that, the chief minister is now among the bottom 5, and we have a history of, we don't even show now the bottom 5s anymore, Barkha, because
so you're saying Pinarayi Vijayan is in your bottom 5 chief ministers.
And I don't see any miracle unless something miraculous happens, and I don't really see them coming back to power as such. UDF is holding its strength. Congress remains the pole in Kerala on one side, with huge minority support, by the way.
So I want to understand, I want to understand that if Pinarayi Vijayan is in the bottom 5 chief ministers, how do you explain the assembly election? How do you explain that the assembly is so different from the Lok Sabha?
Well, the difference would be the way the BJP is fighting it. That's the difference would be. Earlier, so far, we have seen almost 10% drop of the vote share of the BJP whenever the assembly elections have happened. So that will give them a fighting chance to not be wiped out the way they are looking into the Lok Sabha tallies as being wiped out. But will this happen? That's the big critical question. What I am looking at is that the BJP march of 25 in the Lok Sabha vote share percentage, can BJP critically cross the 20% benchmark as far as the assembly election is concerned? So far, they have failed. They have never done that. If they cross 20%, if the Congress sweeps, if the left is reduced to some number which is beyond the meltdown numbers, then I think the race will open up for the bipolarization of the state of Kerala between Congress and the BJP, like Trinamool Congress and the BJP in West Bengal.
So you're saying that we could be looking at a Kerala scenario where the Congress and the BJP become the two main poles and not the Congress and the left, but it all depends on what happens to the left in these assembly elections.
In these elections, yes. In these elections, I'm not saying that BJP is going to. No way. I mean, no huge majority of the seats it will be Congress versus the CPM. Overwhelming majority of the seats will be there. But how many places BJP becomes a number 3 and the close number 3 and like that? The vote share theory or vote share equation is very, very critical to observe in these kind of states. Once you cross 20% votes in assembly election, Barkha, you are here to stay. And once you cross 30% votes, you are in the power play. That's so. So this election, BJP is own. You remember Annamalai is insistent during when we were discussing the Lok Sabha. He was aiming at 20%. Why 20%?
I remember I asked him what would you consider, and he said 20% vote.
Exactly. There is a reason for it because 20% means you are here to stay, and 30% means you are in power play. So I think BJP's critical mark in Kerala is 20%. If they can cross that, then they have a long play at hand, probably 5 years, 10 years down the lane. Maybe it will become a Bengal kind of scenario. But if they are unable to capitalize on this and they still remain a marginal player, then you are going to see a long curve where BJP might become a significant player as far as Lok Sabha is considered. But because of the CPM cadre and their strength at the bottom, they might still see a 5 years down the lane post anti-incumbency sentiment against the Congress government, which might be formed. So those things are very much in future, but interesting numbers from Kerala. Very, very interesting.
Absolutely. Now you spoke of Annamalai. Let me turn to Tamil Nadu, our fourth poll-bound state that we're looking at in this C Voter MOTN survey. Now, if you look at Tamil Nadu in terms of vote share, it is again interesting because the NDA actually looks to be slipping in your projection. And I'm assuming in this NDA you have included, for clarification, AIDMK?
Yes, it is included in that, but this happened before the PMK and other equationings happened. So the minor players, AMMK, PMK, those numbers might take it to say roughly about 3% more in that way.
Yeah.
The real thing is the TVK where they are getting damaged.
So, we already have questions in our stream saying, let me take that up. How can Vijay's TVK get 15% vote share without any real organization on the ground? Now, Vijay has had a contentious start, huge personal popularity, but that awful sort of stampede at one of his events, and then he's criticized for how he's handled it, and so on and so forth. This 15% projection is still something that shows in your survey a committed constituency, a section of a committed constituency. Before we come to the overall Tamil Nadu picture, let's talk about the Vijay factor.
Well, I fear because, we have seen what happened to brand PK in Bihar. Huge traction, but the moment the contest became bipolar of sort, it just withered away. Because people do not want to spoil their vote. People do not want to see their vote getting wasted, So that's the big problem with TVK and Vijay is right now. At this point of time, I do not see Tamil Nadu voters seeing Vijay as the person who is going to win or flip the election at this point of time. If he continues to hold on to these numbers and keeps on adding, and if the if the juggernaut keeps on moving and that, by the time elections are happening and his number are flipping to 30%, say, eclipsing the AIADMK as the principal. That might be a different theory, different scenario, but at this point of time, it's not happening. It's not, and precisely for the reason that your viewer just noted. He has huge potential, but zero cadre and zero organizational strength. AIADMK, even in the worst kind of lot, still has a huge organizational strength. So has the BJP, by the way. We all know because of the RSS. But he has thrown a spanner. And I mean, come to think of it in a different way. Suppose if this was a bipolar contest, that 15% anti-incumbent would which direction it would have gone. Easy pick. No big deal to understand. Suppose if there is an alliance between TVK and NDAK, what will happen? It will be a super storm of anti-incumbency. By the way, these are Lok Sabha numbers, and oddly enough, I mentioned right in the start of the program, Tamil Nadu happens to be one of those 3 states where actually Lok Sabha numbers go other way around in that way. That means the anti-BJP factors are likely to poll less in Vidhan Sabha than in the Lok Sabha. So in assembly election, DMK vote share is likely to go down by 5-6% further.
Because so how do you explain that? Because one would imagine that the party that dominates in the Lok Sabha should technically also be dominant in the local level and not the other way around.
It's Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Punjab in the last 12 years. We have consistently telling in our trackers that these are the 3 states which has a significant anti-Modi, anti-BJP traction. So whenever the Lok Sabha happens, at that point of time, people look more for the possibility who is going to defeat Modi, who is going to defeat BJP. That is why even though Aam Aadmi Party wins Punjab and sweeps Punjab, when Lok Sabha elections happen, Congress happens to make the full gain out of that. That's how it happens in Punjab. That is why even though Left Front wins the assembly election in Kerala, in 2019 and 2024, both the time Congress wins majority of the Lok Sabha seat, because BJP voters of Kerala do not see left as the answer to Modi in the central politics. And same is the case of Tamil Nadu. People do not see TVK or AIADMK
as national alternative. So within a local context, they're willing to punish them, demand more from them, give others a chance. But in the national context, they don't see these small entities as relevant. Okay, understood. Let's look at the seats in Tamil Nadu now. In your C Voter MOTN survey, basically the India bloc, and essentially this actually means the DMK continues its domination over Tamil Nadu politics. At the most, you project that if Lok Sabha elections were held today, the NDA could hope for 1 seat. So, the BJP has invested a lot of energy in Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister personally made multiple visits. There was even talk at one point that he may contest a second seat other than Banaras from somewhere in Tamil Nadu. What should the BJP take away from these numbers in Tamil Nadu?
I think the BJP's takeaway should be that, they should have remained invested in Annamalai, honestly speaking, because that's where the grassroots was swelling up. They have their concerns that AIADMK remains one pole, and even after demise of Jayalalitha, AIADMK happens to be the currency in Tamil Nadu politics which will play. So obviously they had to go with that. But this third factor coming in is something, by the way, when we were discussing Abhishek Banerjee, we were discussing someone like Hemant Soren in Jharkhand. Tamil Nadu has an interesting angle because Vijay is directly challenging the next gen of DMK, that is Udayanithi Stalin. And that's where the problem of DMK is. In our post-Stalin numbers, Udayanithi Stalin is nowhere near the way Abhishek Banerjee fills up the gap, or for that matter, now Nara Lokesh fills up the gap in Andhra Pradesh. That's the biggest turnaround story for me. If you would have asked me 2 years back, Nara Lokesh in a post-CBN scenario was nowhere in the picture. As on today, he almost captures. It's one of the most refreshing turnaround for the next gen leader for me. He is a case study. He has kind of captured almost the entire base of TDP in terms of chief ministerial ranking. When you say that, okay, if you only talk about Nara Lokesh, Jagan Mohan Reddy and Pawan Kalyan, who would be your chief minister? Yes, he is still polling, say for example, 10% less than his father. No doubt about that. But his father is extremely popular. He is actually, as I mentioned, Chandrababu Naidu is almost at par with Yogi as the number one. In a chief minister. His ratings are nationally speaking. People who see who is the number one chief minister also going up. So he remains number one. Chandrababu Naidu plus your Pawan Kalyan numbers are almost 20% more in terms of vote share projections of Andhra Pradesh. And his line of succession is clear because Nara Lokesh is doing decently well to capture that scenario. But in Tamil Nadu, it's a huge headache for Mr. Stalin because the way Mr. Stalin was groomed for decades by Mr. Karunanidhi, unfortunately, same thing is not happening as far as Udayanidhi is concerned. And this is where the Vijay and TVK brand comes in. If he captures the youth of Tamil Nadu, then DMK has really problematic days coming in coming years. That's happening.
Very interesting.
I don't know which way it will go. If TVK gets shrunk or stretched out because of the bipolarity, then it will be game over for the TVK. But otherwise, we are looking at a solid triangular contest at this point of time where I don't really see Vijay winning anything, but probably ironically, he will end up making sure that DMK wins again.
Okay, these are the ironies of politics. Now let's turn our attention to the national picture. The state of the Congress. I have multiple comments in my audience on, you're not talking about Rahul Gandhi, you're not talking about Rahul Gandhi. We're coming to it, and here we are, and here is your. I want to understand your survey findings a little more because somewhere I found people confused. But maybe you can explain it to me. So let's take two questions together. The C Voter Mood of the Nation India Today survey asked whether people still sees the Congress as India's real opposition. 55% people said yes. And Yashwant, this is the point you've made again and again, that the Congress is an entity, is not dismissed. It as an entity, the Congress entity. But now if you move on to the next question, who is the weak link in the India bloc, right? No. I need the weak link graphic. 62% say that the Congress is the weak link. Now, if 55% people say that the Congress is the real opposition, but 62% also say that the Congress is the weak link, you explain this. What I'm understanding is, as a concept, as a place in history, as a place in politics, the Congress gets its due. But in the way the Congress is conducting itself presently, it's seen as a weak link. Would that be a fair interpretation?
It is. And one more interesting interpretation. Let me share with you the data point with you. When I did the cross-tabulation of the support base on these two questions, the funny thing was that bigger chunk of the BJP supporters believe that Congress is the real opposition. And bigger chunk of opposition voters felt that the Congress is the weak link.
Now, hang on. That is so interesting. So you are saying BJP voters, let's repeat that slowly. BJP voters see Congress as the main opposition, but opposition voters say Congress is the weak link.
It's the weak link. And there is no contradiction. I also felt like it's a contradiction, Barkha. But when I thought about it, I also feel like it's not a contradiction. It's like, this is it, what I feel should be. And this is it, what they are actually doing. It's like, this is my expectation, this is the reality. This is what they feel, that because Congress is the only pan-India party like the BJP at this point of time. We have seen Congress taking, like state in Punjab, I said, whenever national elections happen, in Delhi also, in two elections, even when Kejriwal won 67 and 65 out of 70, in both the Lok Sabha elections, it was Congress which was the second party in Delhi, not the Aam Aadmi party. So whenever the national elections happen, people in Kerala, they dump the left front and vote for the Congress in order to defeat the BJP. So at national level, there is a genuine thing that Congress is and is supposed to remain the principal party if they want to dislodge BJP at some point of time. But is the Congress doing the right job the way it has to do? That is where the question mark is. The way the Congress is handling the thing, the way the Congress is going about the things, that is something which people find it that no, it's not really doing proper justice to whatever the role that has been given, and somehow it's not adding up.
So let me, before I go on to the vote chori issue, take a question from our audience. We have Anish Shenoy saying, Barkha, I voted for the Indian National Congress in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, but in opposing Modi's policies, Rahul seems to be anti-India. This is a, I'm just reading it verbatim. I don't like using these labels, otherwise anti-India for anybody. But this is what Anish feels. And that is putting voters like me off. Congress can easily win 2029, but the Gandhis cannot be seen as far left. I think the second point is a very important point.
Very important.
This country does not live on the left of the spectrum. In fact, most countries, most human beings do not live on the extremes. They live in the middle.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. They live in the middle. And that's the irony of politics in India, that the BJP has captured the central middle. And the left narrative of the Congress has marginalized the centrists, pushed the centrists toward the BJP, saying that you are not left enough. It's ironical, honestly, because Congress is the original centrist party of India. It is. As and when they have shown the centrist tendencies. Remember, in 2009 election, it was the centrist economist Dr. Manmohan Singh who took Congress beyond 200 seats. If it was not for Manmohan Singh,
and even one after the 2008 Mumbai attacks, when everybody thought he was on a weak wicket.
Exactly. It is like people see that in these circumstances, he did what he could have done. He is a gentleman, center of the line, not extremist. People reposed the faith, on Manmohan Singh in 2009. So somewhere, and yes, you are right in that comment, but I could sense, and I might be totally wrong, but when I take a debriefing from my researchers on what people are saying about Rahul ji and like that, somewhere people, or not many of them, say that in order to sound anti-Modi, he almost starts sounding like anti-India. Like, for example,
and there are two examples I'll give before you give. One was I disagreed very much with some of his comments during Operation Sindoor, very much. That's one example. And second, I think even on the Trump case, while of course the opposition must ask the government about what's actually in this agreement, to be seen as sort of enjoying Trump's mockery of an Indian prime minister is not something that sits easy with voters.
Exactly. So 2 Rafale went down or 4 Rafale went down. Why should there be a question with almost a gleefully sounding in a way that as if you wish that number to be bigger? That is the kind of thing which in the messaging and the narrative that, okay, Trump's humiliation. Trump has humiliated everybody on planet Earth. Tell me one person, one country, one area where he has not gone rogue and bully and not tried to humiliate. And when you are messaging somewhere, that messaging is just like one of your viewers said, he voted for Congress. But a very fine line where you are coming out as anti-Modi and where you are almost sounding like in order to oppose Modi. Almost like opposing India's interests. Something.
Well, the same viewer is responding to you by saying the Congress has a committed, and this is Anish again, the Congress has a committed 20% vote base, and if RG moves away, the INC will move center right. Then they're a winning machine. The BJP is also successful in painting the Gandhis as anti-Hindu.
Well,
so anti-Hindu, anti-India.
It is not for your viewer or you or me to say. 2014 AK Antony report said this, that Congress has been branded as anti-Hindu. And it's been 11 years. What did the Congress do about it? What, beyond the occasional temple hopping movements, what exactly has Congress done? And I'm sorry, Barkha, making an issue of Muslim reservation in jobs is not helping that cause. I'm not saying that Muslims should not be having jobs or like that, but I'm talking about the electoral politics and the way the narratives work. So something is missing. Something that extreme left orientation in the messaging is missing. I believe that Congress is still, even in the worst of the time, and I have said this to you many more occasions than one. With a 20% base, you are in. You are not going out. 20% you are in. 30% you are in the electoral battle. So between 20 to 30, this 10% jump for the Congress has to come from the soft centrist lines, which should be seen as talking the issues which matter the most: the jobs, the inflation, the problems of the youth, not by vote chori or that kind of campaign. Funny thing, vote chori, people say it is important thing.
Let's move to that. Let's move to that slide. It's the next one.
And I will give you another anecdote to it. Why it matters a lot. Those who say it matters a lot also are also coming from the big number, almost half of them, 20% coming from the BJP side. Surprising, right?
So explain that. Are you saying that this 40% on our screen that is saying Rahul Gandhi's vote chori campaign matters a lot, half of them are BJP? Explain that.
BJP, because they feel offended by the fact that the election commission, the process is being question marked. What they feel that this should be transparent, put the doubts to rest once and for all, make the things in, and their expectation from this election commission is make it, do away all these kind of allegations. Do it right. Because
so you're saying that when people are saying matters a lot, that doesn't necessarily mean they agree with it. They just want it resolved.
BJP supporters. Half of them are BJP supporters. When you talk about the progressive things in this country, you will find non-partisan support across, and we have seen on so many snap polls, Barkha. There are so many issues. I think overwhelming majority of the issues, actually, people on one side, regardless of their partisan politics.
So I want to actually go to the next slide, which is on whether people in India believe elections are free and fair. And 57% of those surveyed say yes, 37% say no. And this is an interesting detail you've just provided us, that those who think vote chori campaign matters, half of them are BJP voters, and what they're saying is it matters because it needs to be put to rest.
Yeah, exactly. And similarly over here, the people or the opposition voters saying yes to this question are coming from the states where there are opposition governments. So DMK supporter in Tamil Nadu says, is election free and fair? TMC supporter in West Bengal says elections are free and fair. But the BJP supporters in West Bengal do not say that. They say elections are not free and fair. So it's not. So see, the beauty of this entire exercise is to understand that there are no black and white all across uniform things that are happening. People are bothered with these allegations. People are bothered with the fact that there are question marks raised at the election commission and election process, something which are very dear to them. And they want election commission to come out with the policies and do the things in a way where the trust in the election process remains. It's not that they are saying what Rahul Gandhi is saying is the truth. They are saying once and for all, do it right and get done with it.
And now a lot of people, even in our comments, are saying, is it time for the Congress to move to Priyanka Gandhi? And this is the question that you actually asked in the C-Voter MOTN survey. Rahul, Priyanka, who is a better fit to lead the party? This is an interesting finding. Among your participants in this survey, 36% believe that Rahul Gandhi is the person who should lead the Congress. This means that either they don't believe that this change is ever going to happen, or they don't think Priyanka Gandhi has earned her spurs or done much. How do you read these numbers if we can come back to them?
The context is important. That's why the timelines are important, Barkha. Almost about 18 months back, this number was only about 1% for Priyanka. All right.
That's interesting.
Okay.
So she's shown a jump from 1% to 9%.
9%. How much chance did she ever get? One thing that she stood up in the parliament and said about, let's debate on Pandit Nehru and be done with it.
Yeah.
That went viral. Viral like anything, with the smiling face. She said, "Ki ek baar charcha kar lijiye na, Nehru ji ne kya galti ki thi." The way she pinned and deflated that thing on the BJP. Now, she didn't get a chance much to speak in the parliament. She didn't. Now, even today, poor lady has been sent all the way to one place where Congress is facing the really uphill task, that is Assam,
Yeah.
at the 11th hour. So, if Congress is defeated in Assam, she gets the blame for no fault of hers, right? Her, as you mentioned, her home state, or you will say, is Kerala, right? She is a Kerala Lok Sabha MP. Why is she not given chance of Kerala, where Congress is likely to win and where she might get the all the credit for making Congress win? Why is she lifted from all the way Kerala and sent to Assam? Is she getting a fair chance? Is she getting a fair deal? That's a question. People are asking. Whenever we have asked this question between Priyanka and this thing and standalone questions, of people have less negativity about Priyanka Gandhi. She is seen as more centrist than Rahul Gandhi for sure. But however, that's a different debate and question on which way the Congress has to go. But individually speaking, yes, Priyanka Gandhi is seen way more centrist than Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, let's now move to the actual sort of numbers as they stack up for the Prime Minister, what people say are challenges for him. And not surprisingly, it remains, roti kapda makan, the economy, unemployment. These are the big concerns for people across political affiliations. 42% of those that the C Voter MOTN survey spoke to said it's a very serious situation with jobs. 22% said it's somewhat serious. That makes it more than 60% or 65% nearly of people who are looking at unemployment as the big issue. And I don't know if you remember, but there was this viral video where you could see people taking exams on the airport strip in Odisha. We'll have that image come up. There it is. And nothing captured better than the hunger, the desperation for jobs and the paucity of jobs. So while Modi continues to enjoy favorable ratings in comparison to the opposition, and we'll come to those ratings in the end, unemployment is a big issue. I'll take that with also the state of the economy. Despite these problems, people are trusting him. No, before I come to whether they're trusting him, people were asked, how do you look at your economic status? Go to the next slide, please. People were asked, how do you look at your economic status? 36% said it's improved since Prime Minister Modi became Prime Minister. 30% said same and 32% said deteriorated. That means more than 60% are saying either same or worsened. So these are the big challenges for the Modi government: the economy and jobs.
This number is pretty much.
I'll take one more. Yet people, because people may say, so why are people not voting against Modi as a result of this? These findings are very interesting. Dr. Manmohan Singh was an economist, but yet maybe he lost his authority, especially in the second term. And therefore, today, Modi is seen as a better manager of the economy than Manmohan Singh, and the numbers speak for themselves on the screen. Now, Yashwant, let's talk about this bucket.
I think economy is one thing which bothers this government more than anything else. For the 11 years, consistently we have seen jobs and most of the time inflation as the two most biggest concerns. As and when the inflation problem goes up, Manmohan Singh's numbers go up and Modi's number come down. As and when inflation numbers go down, Modi's score starts scoring up again. But the joblessness or the K-shaped growth, these are the 2 pointers which should be bothering the Modi government. There is one more question, by the way, Barkha, which is consistently we have been finding that overwhelming majority of the people saying this government has worked more for the big businesses rather than for the common man.
That's an important one. We missed that. Yeah.
These are, and that number has been, Barkha, over 50% non-stop. I mean, consistently. These numbers should bother Mr. Modi and his government. Because on one hand, it is the trustworthiness of Mr. Modi. When you ask about the unemployment and the secondary question in our tracker, we always ask, who do you think can find solution to this government? Overwhelming majority says Mr. Modi are likely to give a better solution than Mr. Gandhi or BJP better than the Congress. So it's the trustworthiness of the Prime Minister which pulls them through this problem at this point of time. But that problem is persistent, and this problem of narrative which is hitting the BJP for consistently, about working for the bigger businesses than the bottom of the bottom of the pyramid is something, or the K-shaped growth is something which ideally should bother them. If the opposition would have been, or Congress or Rahul Gandhi would have been more bothered about these things in a much better way, to basically present these things, I think they would have got better traction.
I mean, these issues, and I think urban governance is increasingly becoming an issue. Where we are in Delhi, we had a man fall into a unbarricaded swamp in
Extremely.
Noida, and now in Delhi, in the national capital, right? 2 lives lost within a period of a month because of urban governance or misgovernance issues. Yashwant.
Barkha, the other day I was watching Mrs. Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi giving bites on the pollution outside the parliament once the session was over. My question is, why was that not an issue inside the parliament?
Yeah.
With this young man's death, why it was not inside the parliament? I mean, of course, the parliament got over by the time this happened, but there are many other things which has happened, in terms of failure of urban governance. Why are they not shown as an issue? I think somewhere down the line, somebody has to tell the team around Mr. Gandhi that the issues which you are raising right now are not getting in sync in that way, the way they should. You are feeling, or you are expecting them to sync with. And there are bigger issues. And by the way, the bigger issues, people are very constant and secular about that, the problem that they are facing. It is just that the opposition is unable to fill the gap. That's why at the end of the day, when you ask right after the problem, they say Mr. Modi will give the solution.
And that takes us to our very last cluster of findings, which is exactly this. Who's the preferred choice for Prime Minister? We've just gone through the economy, jobs, people dying in pits, air pollution, toxic water, so many issues that really impact the lives of people that both BJP and opposition voters would care equally about. And yet, when you asked who is the preferred choice for Prime Minister, 55% said Prime Minister Modi compared to 27% for Rahul Gandhi. Your survey does point out that this is an increased or an improvement for Rahul Gandhi compared to 2022, especially that in the last 3-4 years, his numbers have increased, but the gap between him and the Prime Minister remains humongous.
That's a 1:2 kind of gap, Barkha. If you look into the Congress and the BJP vote share, it's like 40% and 20%. Same is with the 30-60 kind of ballpark. If there are two things which are remarkable, Mr. Modi is way more popular than his party or alliance, and Mr. Gandhi is way less popular than his alliance. If you are talking about the India bloc or the opposition bloc.
So you're saying Modi is more popular than the BJP and Rahul Gandhi is less popular than the opposition bloc?
NDA's vote share is roughly around 46-47%. Modi is trending at 55%. India bloc is trending roughly about 38%. Rahul ji is at 28%. So that's the gap that's not a normal thing to happen, right? I mean,
okay.
Now, Rahul Gandhi should be scoring is the total number of votes polled by the opposition bloc. Something is missed somewhere. That is something which is the centrist thing that you discussed. There is something which is missing from the narrative. How they are, and it's not that people have lost hope in the Congress. It's not that people are saying that everything is. Congress is still largely, very much effectively the most biggest party after the BJP right now. So many states they have won in the last 10 years, that includes the Hindi heartland states, by the way. Not that they did win Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, right? They are still winning Jharkhand with their alliance partners, right? So we cannot say that they haven't won it. They have pretty much done it. They are still ruling Telangana. They are ruling Karnataka in South. They are likely to win Kerala in South. They are in alliance partner. They are ruling in Tamil Nadu. So all in all, whenever you look at it, Congress base and Congress thing is there. Can they get their act together in order to accommodate the centrist voter to look for an alternative? Right now, they are not really looking for an alternative, and that should be bothering the Congress.
Let me get to the last question, which is, of course, the final seat projection. And this is very interesting, looked at both through an alliance lens and party-wise. Now, if general elections were held today, the C Voter MOTN survey projects that the NDA would get 352 seats with a 47% vote share, and the India bloc would get 182. I want to also take this party-wise because I think it tells you a very interesting picture. So if we can go to the next slide. The Congress is projected to fall to 80, and the BJP is projected to go up from 240 to 287. So this means that the knocks that the BJP took in the Lok Sabha, they have recovered from those, is what these numbers suggest, Yashwant. And for those who read a deeper meaning, a more permanent meaning into the Lok Sabha results, they have also been shown to be wrong, or the Congress has managed to not build on its gains of the Lok Sabha 2024.
Well, Barkha, looking at this number, I almost feel like that 2024 was an aberration. It was a blip in the radar. It was something which just happened, and it too much was read into that 240 number, because without realizing that it was the infighting of the BJP in Uttar Pradesh or in Rajasthan, or for that matter, the shocker that came in from Maharashtra. These were the things which brought down their numbers. And look at the way they have repaired. Look at the way they repaired Maharashtra. Look at the way Haryana. Look at, Jammu region, or for that matter, even Delhi. Look at the way they repaired. They learned, they repaired. Prime Minister, for that all practical matters, took a back seat in all these elections, letting the organizational work out, letting the regional leaders, like Devendra Fadnavis, take the front, frontal attack and go about it. So if a person as popular as Prime Minister Modi understands and takes a backseat that, okay, this is not where I am gonna be very beneficial to my party and organization, and puts up a different foot in order to win the election, that is the kind of prudence is required in electoral setups. How to win an election. And I don't really believe in moral victories. You either win an election or you win an elections. There is moral victory. This blah, 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 blah. You might have lost the election. You have a moral victory. No, I don't believe in that. If you want to bring changes, you have to first be in the seat of power. And to be in the seat of power, you have to win the election, not through the Dhaka model. Those who were proposing it, many of our friends we know, very, very lustfully looking at Dhaka and Kathmandu. It's not happening. People do not like that kind of anarchy. They want solutions. They want serious voices to raise their serious issues, to find a solution, and to say, come up with a plan, be a viable alternative, and people will start voting for you again, all over again. You have a damn good 20% plus base in this country.
Yeah. So
something you have to do about it.
Yeah, before we let you go and give you the last word, this is not a scientific survey, but we just polled our audience. If elections were held today, who would you vote for? So these are just people who are watching Mojo Story, and there'll be more votes come in. But 73% say that they would vote for the NDA compared to 27% for the India Alliance. But I just wanted to share that little finding with you. Yashwant, last word to you.
Well, I think this entire MOTN, along with the state trackers which we have just compiled today, I genuinely believe that the contest is wide open and very balanced across all the states. When we look at the national elections, national numbers, we also see that people have still great deal of trust in brand Modi, in his individual brand as such. And due to that, there is a significant gap as far as the vote share is concerned. If the vote share gap is not reduced, the seat share gap cannot be reduced. Something has to be done by the Congress. And as you rightly pointed out, the left of center narrative is not going to work in India. something has to be changed over there. If they have to fight out this branding done by the BJP, which has been pasted on them of being an anti-Hindu party, then the Congress cannot fight that kind of branding with providing reservation on religious grounds. That is something which is not unlikely to help them.
Okay, we will leave it there. Yashwant, thank you. This has been a fascinating conversation, and we really do thank you for it. And of course, we're going to be seeing a lot more of you as we look at the C Voter Tracker in the poll-bound states, and also look forward to your service with Malayalam Manorama, in particular in Kerala. Thank you so much for your time. Always a lot from you. Take care and see you soon, Yashwant. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.